So it's that cliche time of the year again when we start to look back at all the wins and the losses from the previous year, but more excitingly, use those wins and losses to look ahead into the next year. And that's kind of what I want to talk about in this video. I want to talk about my wins and losses financially in 2021, as well as some of the things I'm excited about and some things I want to try in 2022. One of which includes today's video sponsor, StartEngine, but more about that in just a second. So first, a quick recap of 2021. Some goals and things that I really wanted to set for myself, as well as a little bit of changes. Number one, I maxed out my Roth IRA with an index fund, VTSAX. That was something I wanted to do. And ever since I started my Roth, every single year I've tried to work closer to maxing it, like the earlier I could in the year. And last year was the first time that I had maxed it on the first of the year, January 1st. And right after I maxed it, I started putting money aside for 2022. So right now I'm prepared to max that out again with VTSAX again on January 1st. And that was a big win for me. Not only to max it out as early as I could in the year, because it took a couple years to get to the first of the year, but keep that momentum going and be ready to do the same in 2022. If you don't have a Roth IRA, please check out one of my Roth IRA videos. It's one of the greatest investing vehicles that is offered to us currently, and you should really consider taking advantage of it. Another goal I set for myself in 2021, which I did achieve, was maxing out my 457, which is my employee-sponsored retirement account. Very similar to a 401k or a 403b. The beautiful thing is, if I want to retire from teaching early, I'm able to access that money before I am 59 and a half. It's one of the beauties of the 457. If you are a governmental worker, you work for the state or something like that, you're a fireman, you're a nurse, you're a teacher, look into the 457 and see if you have access to it. It really is incredible. And I take 0 paychecks for the first couple of months of the year so that I can max that out. I'm excited. It's increased above the $19,500 it was this year. So I'm looking now to increase up to that maximum now. And that's going to be one of my goals for 2022. A 2021 goal that I set for myself that I did not achieve was also maxing out my other employee-sponsored account, the 403b. And there's really 2 reasons why I did this, why I set that goal for myself and I did not achieve it. The first was liquidity. I'm really getting to the point now where I don't know when I'm going to retire from teaching, but I know for a fact it's not going to be after 59 and a half years old. So having access to the 457, that's kind of enough for me. If I didn't have a 457, I definitely would contribute because I think tax-deferred accounts and employee-sponsored accounts are amazing. But I figured it was a little bit of overkill for me in my position, knowing that I'm going to probably retire before 59 and a half, well before actually, that I put that aside and pretty much just give myself a little bit more liquidity. When I leave my teaching job, I'm going to want to access that money, and say I leave at 43, 44 years old, I don't want to have to wait till 59 and a half to get that money. The other reason that I didn't contribute to that 403b was because I was doing some home renovations this year. If you guys have been following the channel, you know I redid my kitchen and my bathroom, and I did not want to take on any debt to do so. I am consumer debt free, and that's how I plan to live my life until I expire. So I knew that that was going to be a lot of money. We ended up spending about $50,000 on my kitchen and my bathroom. It increased the value of my home by over $100,000. So it was well worth it in that sense. But I did not go into any debt. And I really needed that money, that $800 a paycheck that I was putting towards the 403b previous. I needed that money so that I did not have to go into future debt. So as far as 2022, guys, most of those are going to remain exactly the same. I'm definitely going to max out my Roth IRA. I'm going to max out my 457 and go up to the new contribution limit. And I'm probably going to go away from and not contribute to my 403b once again. Mostly, like I said, for liquidity. I have no more projects around the house as of yet. But yeah, mostly just for liquidity reasons. So now looking back, some of the mistakes I made and something that I definitely want to get a hold of in 2022. Being a YouTuber here, I watch a ton of YouTube. I'm watching other people because they're intelligent. I'm learning. I'm also seeing the trends and things like that so I can keep up to date with what we're making here on YouTube. But because of that, I've fallen victim to hype. I invested in some stocks this year and I made some options calls that frankly, I knew were super risky, but I only did it because of the hype. I tend to be very analytical and buy the numbers. I tend not to let emotion get a hold of me. But this year in 2021, I definitely maybe made one too many speculative investments. Like I messed around with ARKK, right? I got into that hype and ARK investments, and we see that they pretty much did a complete mirror opposite of what they did in 2020. I got into the EV buzz. I had Tesla early on. I ended up getting rid of that, but I messed around with NIO early in the year. That was really popular back in the beginning of 2021. I definitely made some AMC and GameStop calls last February that I did not make any money on. I bought some puts on Lucid recently that I kind of did because I was so angry at the EV market and I didn't really think of that analytically, and I got burned that way. I definitely dabbled in the Dogecoin after Dogecoin had already hit, so I lost some money there. Like I said, just different hype stocks, a couple other SPACs that I can't think of off the top of my head. I really diverted away from my conservative plan, and I really, really want to hopefully do that. And really the way I'm doing it is I'm like talking more about my investments with my peers, right? Because we can get in the hype train and it could be 11 o'clock at night and we're like, we just watch a YouTube video and we're like, oh yeah, I'm going to get in on that stock. But now I kind of like bounce everything off of my peers, and a lot of the times they're like, or, especially in my Discord, they do a great job of being like, I don't know, Brad, you might want to do a little bit more due diligence on that. And I really want to bring that into 2022 and frankly, not just lose money risking and rolling the dice. I'd rather roll my dice with other things. One of those things I do want to roll the dice with is possibly investing in some sort of startup. I've had businesses before and I kind of miss like that business side of life. So this year, I know it's risky. I know there's a lot of growth. It's kind of like one of those things with startups where you could definitely get in and it could be amazing, but I know most startups fail. So there's a lot of risk there. And once again, I don't know where I'm going to measure that risk, but I definitely want to do some angel investing. I see some people above me that are doing better than me financially in this past year. They definitely got into that space. So a startup is definitely something I'm thinking about for 2022. Now, frankly, because I don't know that much about it, that's kind of why I've backed away from startups in the years past. But one thing that has made me feel more comfortable about startup and the whole process and avoiding the potential risks was an article titled 5 Things Investors Should Know Before Investing in Startups. The article is linked in the description below and was written by today's sponsor, StartEngine. StartEngine Crowdfunding Inc. is the largest equity crowdfunding platform in the United States and the first mover in the industry. StartEngine has raised over $450 million via Regulation A+ and Regulation CF combined through its subsidiaries StartEngine Primary and StartEngine Capital, with over 500 company offerings on its platform to date. With StartEngine, you can discover new investment opportunities for up-and-coming startup companies, which is really something that's good for me. It currently has 600,000 prospective investors on their platform, with that number growing every single day. Pretty much up until now, investing in startups was only for accredited investors, but now times are changing, and you can now be one of the first to invest in startups as well. If you're like me and investing in startups is like super new, brand new territory, check out the article, 5 Things Investors Should Know Before Investing in Startups. Like I said, that is linked down below. It gave me some amazing tips, and I think everyone should see that before beginning their journey into startup investing. And thank you again so much for StartEngine for sponsoring the video and really getting me excited about this possible opportunity to invest in startups in 2022. Another goal that I have for 2022, guys, is investing in real estate. You guys know that that's something that I wanted. I've been trying to invest in real estate all through 2021. It was a little bit of a learning process here. Me and my buddy, JJ Buckner, we made a couple offers. We even went to contract on a couple of properties. I'm not really upset that we didn't exactly land one. It was a kind of a weird year for real estate, the prices and things like that. But I learned so much, right? The process was not a complete loss in 2021 because of the education that I got. And I'm looking to really bring that education, keep growing on it, keep building on it, building that network of people trying to invest in real estate. And that's definitely a goal of mine. If I'm doing this video next year and I do not have a real estate property, then I'll probably be pretty upset about it. But definitely look for me to start adding investment properties to my portfolio in 2022, as well as doing videos so that I can help you guys with what I've learned and the process that I've learned. And if you want to hear more about that, guys, I do have a podcast with JJ Buckner, and we do talk real estate on it as well as money, the Average Money Podcast. So you could check that out as well. It's just a way that we can continue to learn together. And if you can help me invest in real estate, please let me know. That would be great. Please reach out to me, because that is really something. I laugh because it's something I want so bad, but I'm still trying to keep grounded and keep that emotion and not let that emotion make me make bad deals. I want to stick to my guns, stick to my numbers, and make sure that everything's good. And one of the huge things with real estate that I just mentioned is like the uncertainty. That's one thing, 2022, I want to avoid or stay away from this whole like doom and gloom, this whole like the market's going to crash. There's a tech bubble. There's an EV bubble. There's a real estate bubble. All these bubbles and things and all these negative things that are going to happen eventually. Like I did fall into that a little bit, that little bit of hype as far as doom and gloom. And I really, really know. And I mean, I knew it in 2021, but I really, really know it now that nobody has any idea. Guys, I could be recording this video right now and unbeknownst to me, the housing market could be crashing right now. Or it could happen tomorrow, Tuesday. But the fact of the matter is I have a game plan, right? I'm a long-term investor. So if we have a little bit of a correction, that might be a good thing for me. I'm like kind of excited. We had a little bit of a pullback this past week and the stocks were bleeding and I was buying. And I also know some strategies to make money while the market is going down or staying steady. So I am going to try and avoid that. You'll probably never see that type of video from me. Feel free to call me out. If I make a stock market bubble or the stock market's going to crash and it hasn't, call me out on it, please. Because like I said, I really want to avoid that negativity. I want to teach on this channel that we have a plan, a game plan. We're going to move forward regardless of ups, downs, because we are long-term investors. Other than that, guys, the things I talk about on this channel, I am investing in dividends once again because I am approaching retirement. Right now, my dividend portfolio is like $37,000. I'm going to be doing an update video on that shortly. My goal in 2022 is maybe get that to about $100,000. That's a nice round mark. Right now, I have about $40,000 that I'm trading options with. I don't know if I necessarily want to go up unless my income goes up because I like to keep to percentages. And right now, I'm at the percentage that I want to be at as far as money I'm willing to risk trading options. That might go up to $50,000, $60,000 depending on some gains. I don't know, but stay tuned for that. I'll definitely update you if I'm going to be throwing more money into options. Crypto's been the same for me. I don't invest in a lot of crypto. I'm really only invested in Bitcoin. I don't own Ethereum. I'm out of Doge. I never got into the Shiba Inu or whatever that's called, but I do invest $50 every single week into Bitcoin as just a way to hedge stored value and just diversify some money away. Frankly, guys, $50 a week is a risk that I'm willing to lose on, and I've done pretty well on Bitcoin so far. So I don't think I'll be dabbling in all the other cryptos. Definitely not going to be dabbling in the NFT space. That's just not something I know. I'm not into art before this. Why would I be into art now? So I'm not really into that space. If you're into art, I'm sure you love NFTs. It's just not particularly for me, and it's not something that I invest in. So probably won't see that unless I learn a lot more about it and I have an opportunity present itself. And said, real estate, some startups, some angel companies. If you're starting up a company and you think that I might be a good fit to help you guys out, please let me know. I do have a huge background. And once again, guys, check out that link down in the description below. Thank you so much again to StartEngine. It really is a good article. And if you're thinking about investing in startups, it's a good place to start. And until I see you guys on the next one, stay positive. Work really, really hard always. Please be kind to other people. Hope you have yourself an amazing day, an even better tomorrow, and happy holidays.